recording, taking advantage of the last couple days I can stay home. You probably saw the announcements that we are going back staggered next week. We're still going to hold a Monday, Wednesday regular class schedule, and then Friday is going to be like open lab days. I told the registrar's office we were having lab days, so it looked like we were doing something, but we're going to split half and half in the classroom alphabetically, and then Fridays will be mostly online, but if I need to be on campus and walk people through things, it'll probably be half and half. Probably I'll be there half of the Fridays and half the Fridays at home. And as always, if you're not comfortable going to school, don't go to school, because that's the big thing going on right now. I know that school is trying to force you guys to go back, and they're telling us to be really mean and block you guys from Zooms and all that kind of stuff, and I'm not doing any of that. I will be in the classroom, but I will continue to record lectures just as I'm doing now. I will just be in the classroom with some of you guys while I'm recording the lectures. There's going to be no real substantive change to anything when we go back to the building. It's going to continue for the most part like we're doing now. There'll just be some live bodies here and there. So don't fret if you can't go. The other thing is, if anybody in my family gets quarantined, then we're going to be, we're going to have to go back online again. I found out this morning that there was a COVID case in one of my daughter's classrooms, but I haven't heard yet whether she's a close contact and has to stay home, or if she's across the room and still gets to go to school. So until that stuff gets hashed out, it's just going to be week to week for the entire semester. So the more we can keep things consistent, always having the lectures recorded, then I think we can make it through the semester. I'm going to introduce some new material today, but when I'm done with the new material, I'll turn off the recording and answer any questions, because I know that stuff is due today and questions. Sorry, my phone is going to buzz because I left it on, so if the school calls me, I will know. But anyway, we're going to do new Module 2 material and then turn off the recording and answer any questions anybody has. That's how we're going to do that. What we're going to work on today is Module 2 is essentially writing a literature review. And literature reviews are not like anything you have ever written before. It's kind of like a research paper, but it's not exactly like a research paper. It is an incredibly targeted research paper, if that makes sense. You are searching for very specific things, and then you're putting those things together to justify your topic, to justify why research has to be done on your topic, to discuss what research has been done before on your topic, to discuss the types of research and methods that people have used to explore your topic. So it's more than just a regular research paper. It's kind of a synthesis of everything that everybody has ever done. Now, you have like 3 weeks, so I'm not going to ask for a synthesis of everything that everybody has ever done. I'm going to be looking for a very targeted, limited literature review, because it takes about a year to do one. To do one the right way, it takes just about a year. Excuse me. You have 3 weeks, so give or take. So I can't expect that same thing. Excuse me, I'm going to mute for. All right, I'm back. So there's 2 elements to the literature review. The first thing you need is a search strategy. And this is the reason why I made you guys go to the actual AAMU library and screenshot that you were there and found something. Because you are going to have to use the library, and you're going to have to use the databases. And the first thing you're going to figure out is your search strategy. We'll look at that in a minute, what type of databases you want to search in, how to formulate your search terms, what are the steps in your search strategy. And then once you start searching for things and get a nice little collection together, then you have the writing strategy. So it's a two-part thing. You'll start out with your searching and then you'll go to your writing. And this is where you're going to start using that Excel document that you uploaded, and then you're going to start using notes also in Google. Now, I don't have to see your Google notes. Those you're not going to turn into me, but I will want to see your sources. So that will be something that you will turn in. You will turn in your Excel document. My drive. So where, let me find mine so I can show you the examples again. I tend to put them away and then I take them back and then I put them away and then there we go. There's one of them and the other one. So I can show you what you're going to be doing. All right. That's not what I want. Okay. I have 500 tabs. If I ever screenshot, you guys can see that I have 500 tabs. So search strategy, that's the first thing. You have to define your research question. What is your topic? So my topic is looking at police shootings and connecting it to two schools of research from the late 1800s and the early 1900s. So that's my research question. Basically, what you want to do is figure out what you're including and excluding. What do you not need to know anything about? I'm going to be focusing on shootings of African Americans by white police. So I can get rid of a whole bunch of stuff. Any shooting of a white person by any kind of police person ever, out. I don't have to care. This is not part of this research. I'm just looking at a very specific topic. And that's the first thing you have to do. And you can take notes. And as you're thinking about your topics, jot these things down, go step by step by step. I will upload these notes as soon as we're done because I have a bunch of links in here with resources, and you will probably want access to the links with the resources. First thing is define your research question. And that's basically your topic. What did you do for your introduction? Your introduction is it's an outline, basically. You're outlining your topic, the parts of the topic that you are interested in, and starting to narrow it down to what do you need to research? What is your proposal? You know, what has to be done? What has to be found out? And once you figure out what has to be found out, you can say, okay, now these things are included and these things are not included. So mine, I'm just looking at police killings. Doesn't matter if anybody else is killing anybody else, police killings, African Americans. But I'm not focusing on males. It's males and females. So that's another inclusion. I need to look for that. So you define your research question. Then you identify your relevant search terms. So when you found that one article, there should have been, should look at somebody's screenshot, but it should have a list of search terms underneath that abstract. And that's what you want to pay attention to. As you start finding articles, you'll start seeing common search terms. And then you can say, ooh, that's the category. You know, that's where I need to start looking. So you can go in and look for search terms, and you will find way more than you need at this point still. You are still, you know, database library searching really is like a needle in a haystack. So what you're trying to do is narrow down like a 3-foot by 3-foot area around that needle. So you want to look at the searches and the terms that keep popping up over and over again as you click through articles that are kind of sort of interesting. And then you develop your search plan. So what terms are you going to use? How are you going to combine those terms? So I don't just want to say police killing because it's going to give me too much information. I have to have police killings and African Americans. I can't just have the one. I can also do what they say, the truncation. What that means is to stick an asterisk at the end of something. So I can put, what would I put on there? I'll put police killings again, and then I would probably put AF Would I do that? I don't know if I would do that. But it's like if you have China and some things are coming in as Chinese and some things are coming in as China, and you want both China and Chinese, you put CHIN asterisk. That's how you get both of those popping up in there, that truncation. You cut that word, you don't have any of the endings of the word, and you stick asterisk in there. Um, that helps you if you have something that's past tense and present tense and future tense and everything else. You're like, okay, I want all of it. I do that. Test and refine your search. So you start searching your ands and you think you're getting there. Check your results. Start applying limits and filters. Do you want full text PDF only? For this, yes, you really do. I mean, you might find a great abstract, but if your library doesn't have it, then it's just not going to work for you for this particular assignment. Yes, you could talk to the librarian and you can do interlibrary loan and they can probably get it for you. It's worth a shot if it looks like it would be the perfect article. But for this, try to focus on the PDF full text that are available to you. Select relevant databases, run searches. You should be able to save your searches. So if you come up with the great this and truncated and terms and whatever, you should be able to save that. So you can go back and look at what you've done. You shouldn't have to research every single time. The library should let you do that. I went on your library web page earlier today to see if they would let you do that, and I can't get in yet. So I'm still not like officially employed. I mean, I'm employed, obviously I'm teaching, but I'm not employed enough to have access to the library. So as soon as I get employed enough to have access to the library, I will go in there and see if you can save searches. But the other databases I've used in different schools have let me save it, and that will help you. The other thing is that a lot of your library searches will format your citations for you, for your reference page. There should be something on that page when you get that full text article and you're looking at that PDF. There should be something on that page that allows you to make that citation, MLA or APA or however it is that you're going to make that citation. So you can put that right into your spreadsheet and you don't have to figure out how to do it. It will be right there. So searching, coming up with a strategy to search is your first step in doing a literature review. The resources I found for that, there's still a few of you that are having trouble accessing the library. This is the page that you need to access the library from off campus. So I will have this on, I'm just gonna, well, I'll put it in module 2 and say, where am I gonna put this? I'll put it in module 2 so you can find it. This will be here, excuse me. And then I have database search tips. So top 10 search tips, don't let database searching stretch you out. Other search tips we can look at here. We'll look at this one real quick, the second one. And these are ones I just kind of went to other libraries because it doesn't look like your library has that available. I don't see any big like how to do it tutorials at your library system. How to use it. I just see get in there. here's your number, now go have fun. So I've tried to find some. Oh, I don't want to block. I'm trying to block a window. There we go. Oh goodness. You'll get to see weirdness, and then we will get to see. There we go. Is this one too? Nope, that's databases. So this is the first one on don't let database searching stretch you out. So it's actually the second link, but it goes through going database search and tips and tricks. If you're doing a Google Scholar one, this might be what you ask. These are some keywords that go along with it. Databases use algorithms to mine through that huge haystack. So you need to use and or not and things like that to tell you what you want. You can also use quotes. if you are looking at climate change, you want to put climate change in quotes. Otherwise, it'll look up climate and or change. So you'll have all the climate stuff and you'll have all the change stuff. But if you want climate change, it has to be in quotes. So I would probably search police killings in quotes. Otherwise, I'm going to get police and I'm going to get killings. So put that in quotes. Make sure that you have the and. So they're saying like you can do climate change quotes and pollution, and it'll really cut down the amount of sources that are going to pop up then. It's going to help out a lot. So the and says tell it to return results that include both keywords. The or tells the database to return results that include either of them. So if you're not too sure if it's climate change or global warming or greenhouse effect yet, which one you want to focus on, you'll put all three of them in there. You'll go climate change, global warming, all of that together. The not is, like me, I would go not white because I don't want a certain keyword. It gets rid of results that it just cuts off an entire category, basically. So the example here is if you want Mexico but not New Mexico, you say not New Mexico, and that'll get rid of all your New Mexicos and just have Mexicos. So that's a good thing. Quotations are great. Parentheses get a little bit more complex, but you can use them. See, you can have an or, you can have an or and then an and. I want this or this and this. And you can use a combination of the connecting terms and parentheses. And then you can use what we were saying, truncation. You can put that asterisk at the end of something. Most of the time, it's going to be an asterisk. They said, here varies by database. If an asterisk doesn't work, try exclamation point or these other things that we hear. So they give an example of writing a paper looking at the movement for human rights in China. Huge, huge, huge topic. So Google search, keywords, potential database search, but and if you're looking at a persuasive pro-con paper of corporate farming and animal rights, there you go. What is a corporate farm and how are animal rights affected? Factory farm, corporate farm, animal rights, animal welfare, database searches should look like this. And then the last piece of the puzzle is finding the correct database. A lot of the times when you just go in and do a search at the library, it will do all the databases. Almost all the time. But you can go in, generally speaking, and limit it and tell them which databases you want to search. So that's the next piece. I will look at it here since we're already here. I gave you guys a couple. It looks like Drake has, this is Drake. I looked at the databases. You have a bunch of databases, 418 of them. You also have, I already got that, didn't I? A to Z right there. You also have e-journals, e-books, and they'll cut you, if you know that you want to be looking at sociological review, you're really doing something in sociology and that's what you want, you'll say, okay, I'm just going to search sociological review. That's it. It is letting me look, kind of, sort of, maybe. So it tells me which one I want, which journal. So I actually want that one. That's the journal that I want. And then I try to find access to it and then search out various different. That's what you want to do if you're using Google Scholar. Because Google Scholar will give you the article information and then you have to go find the journal. So you're going to want to do the search for that. If you are doing topic searches, you're going to be doing the database search. There are some subject and course guides here that kind of help you a little bit at your library. I looked at those. Criminal justice would be helpful for some of you guys, I'm sure. Quarantine, no sociology, right? Social work, but no sociology. So where was I going? that one. So a lot of colleges have the same set of databases. So I went to a couple different colleges and I looked at, if I was doing a social science paper, what databases should I limit you to? Really, the biggie, ProQuest. So ProQuest Social Science Database, tons of stuff. That is anthropology, criminology, economics, education, political science, psychology, all of that. So you can limit your searches to ProQuest, or you can limit your searches to Social Science Citation Index, which will help you also. What you're doing with the citation index is you're looking for an author. So if you have an author and you want to see what else that guy did, because you already like him and you already think he's done some pretty cool stuff, that's when you go to the Social Sciences Citation Index and you find more that that guy did, or girl, or whoever did. ProQuest is topic search. So you will do a topic search for that. Let's get rid of sharing and go back. I turned off sharing and I turned off everything. That wasn't very smart. There we go. Please tell me the file is still there. Yes, it is. Good, good. So we got up to here. Access the library from off campus. Here's some database search tips. We looked at the second one, San Diego State. My son goes to South Dakota State. So I always look at SDSU and that's the wrong one. This is the San Diego State. And then Northeastern also had a good research tutorial for database searches. Now, online databases. This is your library, so your list. Some suggested social science databases here. Now that you are starting to search things, it's time to do the lit review. And I saw this morning, and it's like, this is exactly what you guys need to see, because a literature review is not about how good you search. It's about framing your question. What does the reader need to know to position your research question and proposed answer in the field? If you're doing a study on gentrification, what does somebody need to know about gentrification to see how this fits? What do people need to know about previous studies about gentrification? What do people need to know about social science survey or survey methods or social science theories to position that topic, to position that question? That's what the research or the lit review is. It's not, are you a good researcher? It's, can I now see how this all fits together? That's what I want to see in a lit review. Because, I mean, if you're doing a master's thesis lit review, you're going to have 10 pages of references. This is a research methods class. We are not going to do 10 pages. I'll tell you in a minute how many references I want to see, but it won't be 10 pages worth. I can tell you that much. So lit reviews aren't about you. They're about putting that topic into context. And I got a couple charts here to help with that. So here's one chart that tells you, excuse me, this one is a little bit more detailed. It says the literature review is the coherent synthesis of past and present research in the domain of study. And then it tells you, does anything even exist? What subject areas have people ever studied this thing in? What are the main perspectives? What are the key concepts? How have other people approached the topic? What aspects are most relevant to the study? What arguments are people having about it? What subject themes are happening? What are the key areas of debate? Where is there not a whole lot of information about this thing? That's really where you want to focus. Where is the existing knowledge thin? Where are there gaps in the literature? Where could things be extended? What are the main conclusions? What have been the main research questions? So this is a good guide to get you started with the literature review, to see what kind of questions you should be asking yourself. as you're coming up with your research plan and you're going through your sources should be answering these questions. Not just telling you about the topic, but answering these specific questions. I have another chart that tells it too. It gives a little bit more straightforward. What are the key sources? What are the major issues? What are the political standpoints, origins and definitions, key theories, this epistemological and ontological grounds. That's more how does it fit into your discipline? Why does your discipline get to tackle this subject? Like, I'm a sociologist, so I'm looking at police killings and theory. Well, why does a sociologist get to talk about this? By what right do I have to address this topic? That's that epistemological, nice philosophical term, and ontological grounds. Why should they? If you are public affairs, why is public affairs get to look at this? If you are political science, because I notice I have more than just sociology people in here. I have criminal justice people, political science people. I'm not too sure who else I have in here. Hopefully not psychology, because this is not the way psychology tends to do their research. So hopefully not that. But you will be making your argument. Why should criminal justice care? Why is criminal justice the best place to look at this thing right now? What are the main questions and problems that have already been addressed? And how is knowledge on the topic structured and organized? So this is another one to kind of help you narrow it down. If the other one looks a little bit too big, you're like, looks like a little bit too much, you can start with this one and work your way around. Looking at number of sources that I'm looking for, probably 10 to 12 at least, because by the time you look at origins and definitions, and not necessarily political standpoints unless you're political science, major issues, key sources, key theories, main questions, knowledge on the topic, you should have at least 10 sources to gather that information to be able to answer these questions in any kind of way. Same thing with this other chart. If you decide that this chart fits the way your brain thinks a little bit better, same thing, 10 to 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So at least one per item here. What are the gaps in the literature? One tip and trick for doing literature reviews is there's a type of article called a meta-analysis. If you can find one of those, that is like hitting the mother lode. Sometimes your library will let you search for this, or you could go into Google Scholar and search for it. Say, like if I want to do police killings, I say meta-analysis plus police killings. Let me see if that works in Google Scholar, right? If it does, I will share it with you. Analysis. Well, you can split it. Okay. So they make it 2 words. I always had it 1 word. Good Lord, I can't type. Okay. Kind of, sort of. They're giving me some good articles. I share screen and I can show you what I get from Google Scholar looking for specific meta-analysis. What meta-analysis is, it's basically a huge literature review, basically, that a theorist has put together or a criminal justice person has put together. They put together so what exactly is going on with the topic? And they go searching out all kinds of different articles and everything, and they tell you what's going on in the topic. If you can find one, it's like, ooh. Now for this, I will let you guys quote in and use the meta-analysis. If you're doing it for a master's thesis or PhD, the meta-analysis will give you the citation and you have to go to the actual article. Don't trust that they did it right. For the case of this thing, though, we will pretend. So Google Scholar is a good one. It's like, well, do we want to have new ones? Do we want citations? Do we want patents? Do we want date? Do we want, what exactly are we looking at? see this one right here, lethal force in black and white, assessing racial disparities and circumstances of police killings. That one just looks pretty good, right? It's a meta-analysis of the print it, open it and see what it doesn't even tell you what it is. There, someplace it will tell you. Again, is it going to give me the whole thing? Ooh, that doesn't happen very often either. So what this is going to do is tell you all the different pieces. It'll give me the process. It'll tell me what exactly is a police killing. What is the process of the police killing? We can look at race. We can look at predictors. We can look at a whole bunch of stuff. And this is going to answer some of my questions, right? This is going to answer some of my questions in my literature review because it has a whole bunch of topics. It's not a very specific research study. It's not located in one neighborhood. It's not one researcher looking at one very specific topic. It's looking at a holistic view of whatever it is you're looking at. So that is a quick, go back to, Google doesn't let you go back very quickly, does it? So there it is. Meta-analysis, what else are some of you guys looking at? We can look at elementary education. Maybe if somebody's doing school. So we can look at learning outcomes of parental involvement, technology on effectiveness, if somebody's looking at technology and the impact of the pandemic and the use of Zoom and everything. Well, this gives you a pre-pandemic overview of technology in the classroom. So what was happening before the pandemic? So it's really good to find a meta-analysis if you can find a meta-analysis. That will do so much for you. You won't find one with everything. Every single topic won't find one, but most of them should. The other thing I was going to tell you is if you get stuck, text me or email me or whatever saying, I'm stuck. I need to find a couple more sources. This is the direction I'm going in. I've been doing library database searches for research purposes for 20-something years. So I have some pretty good strategies to get in there and find what we're looking for. If you want me to evaluate your source to see if it's a good one or not, if this is going to be useful for you with your topic, don't hesitate. Again, I've still got my cell phone here, so you guys can text me a link or email me a link or something like that. I still can't get into library yet, but you can at least show me something and say, here we go. This is what I'm looking at right now. Is this going to help me? Or I'm trying to find stuff in Google Scholar and I can't. I'm trying to find stuff in Google Scholar and it's giving me too much. Now, how can I limit this? I can help you do that. I mean, go out and try it on your own first. But if you're still overwhelmed and looking at a huge haystack, contact me and we can narrow that haystack down. We can figure out what you're looking for. So let's look at what the Google document says about your literature review. We'll do like terms and everything next week, but I wanted to walk everybody through the lit review. My drive, where's my thing? Oh, goodness. I have entirely too many forms. Recent, there we go. Open those. There it is. I should open these before I start. So we'll go back to screen share in a second. Maybe. Okay, we'll go through how this is going to work in Google. So you guys all have this document. Today by midnight, I should see an introduction, and your introduction can be this messy at this point. because you don't know what you're writing about yet. I mean, you haven't completely fleshed out your introduction. The introduction at this stage is just a place to start narrowing down your topic. At the end, you're going to write this thing for real. But right now, it's an outline. So if your introduction looks like this introduction, you're fine. It's like the background. Well, I need to find background on this, and I need to find background on this, and I have to find these things. I have to find these things. I think I'm going to go this direction and maybe this direction, but I'm not entirely sure. If it looks like this, that's fine. So don't stress out about having a perfect introduction. I just need an introduction outline. When you start getting into here, though, this module 2, Theoretical Perspectives and Hypotheses in Literature Review, all it tells you is literature review builds case for hypotheses. It doesn't expand. But what I need to see in the literature review are all of those things that are in all of those charts. I mean, definition of concepts is going to happen before that, so you can skip that part. But all those other things that are on all, I'm going to go back to the charts because it will be going back and forth between screen sharing and not screen sharing. But those diagrams is everything that I have to see right here. So this doesn't give you a whole lot of information. And that's why we're going over it today. So what a literature review is, that's what a literature review is. And then hypotheses are going to be at the very end of it. So we're going to start talking about methods and hypotheses and formulating hypotheses next week. So you don't have to worry about that stuff yet. But you might want to start searching, narrowing down your topic and searching, going through that list of what are you including and excluding. What do you think your search terms are going to be? Start that process. Once you start assembling sources and finding things, you're going to start putting your sources into that spreadsheet. So I have actually I have 3 sources. I just haven't put my 3rd source in yet. So I found out this morning that this thing got accepted and I have to present it like January 27th. So I need to actually get working now. But you guys need to have 10 to 12 sources. So when you turn this in at the end of module 2, I will want to see not my source here on number 2, but starting with, you will get rid of this one. This one's just an example for you. And then you'll start putting in your own. Now you can leave it up there for a while and then get rid of it, but you will give me 10 to 12 sources within this spreadsheet form. That's the first. That's really the big assignment. Last time you had 4 assignments and then an introduction. This time you have this thing is worth 50 points and then the literature review is worth 150. So big chunk compared to the intro. How should you take your notes? Once you find your sources, this is not going to be enough to write a literature review, Methods of Chicago School, People of Chicago School. I still have to have more information, and that more information I will put into notes. And this is how I format my notes. I think I've talked about this already, that I highlight them if I'm just copying and pasting. I highlight them in a different color if I'm copying and pasting a quote that I'm probably going to keep, and just keep putting notes to myself, and on and on and on and on. If I'm smart, which I sometimes am, I put the citation right underneath it. So when I'm writing, it's like, there it is, Lowen Bowden, 2013. When I'm not smart, I just do this because I haven't put the citation yet. This is the source that I haven't put into that spreadsheet. So once I put this one into, I have the urban soc text. See, I can't use the urban sociology text. I have to actually find the original sources for all of this information. You guys can use textbooks. You can use that quoted in, cited in type of methods. I have that, I say in here because I can't do it for a national conference. If it says Park was fascinated by the city and it gets this quote, I can't use page 131 in the Massionis book as my citation. I have to go back and look him up. What exactly did Park write in 1964, page VIII? And you can find that in the references in whatever textbook you have. So I will be finding the original sources of these. That's why they don't have anything yet. Now, what you can do, though, because see the spaces, I need to put more spaces. I usually go back and add spaces. So some of you guys did note cards when you were in high school or elementary school or middle school, and you would have to write everything down on note cards. This is basically the same thing, because what you're going to do is print them out and cut them into strips. So I will print it out, and then I will have, is Chicago School a cohesive idea, on a strip with Low and Bowden 2013. I will have Chicago School encapsulates a diversity of ideas on a strip. I will have this entire blue quote on a strip, and then I can decide how I want to paraphrase it later. I will have this quote on a strip, and on and on and on. So the way you're going to construct your literature review is you're going to find sources and put them here and come up with your basic topics that you see in those sources, your own topics, not mine. And then you're going to take the notes on your strips, and then you'll go back to your topics and you'll be like, huh, what of all these topics that I keep finding, which are the important ones that I want to have in my literature review? Which ones am I going to care about now? You know, I may not really care about the years of the Chicago School. That might not be important. I might not really care about hypotheses between the authors and stance on race-related social oppression. I mean, it made sense to me at the time when I was writing it, taking notes, but it may not make sense to me later. The other thing, I keep telling you guys too much information. You see that I'm just throwing topics here. Now, let's see if I get another one that has Black sociology in it. What I'm going to do then is I might move Years of Chicago School someplace else and see if I can have everything that concerns Black sociology together in topic one. Maybe I'm going to find, based on writings by authors that address race relations, and see that I have more sources that are talking about that. Then I resort my topics. For now, don't care. Don't worry about resorting your topics. For now, just kind of throw them in there as a guide, because you'll have 10 to 12, you can see them. So you don't necessarily have to worry about sorting. It'll just remind you of what was that thing about. When you see whatever, if you get down to like article number 9, you'll be like, what was that thing about again? Oh yeah, these things, these are the main topics. And then you can go back and you can match them to your notes and say, oh yeah, and here's the notes that I took from that journal. That's, okay, so sources, what is a literature review? Oh boy, we're almost out of time anyway. That's enough, right? That is plenty. I will make sure that I keep this one recorded. I know that sometimes it gets rid of the recordings, but I can download the recordings and turn it into a YouTube and keep it. So I will keep this one as a YouTube and label it Walking Through the Literature Review. So if anybody needs to go back and fast forward through different parts of it, you can do that. I will put it up on YouTube. I will put up the slides so that you can access all the different databases and tips and tricks that I showed you. And that's all we got. All right, I'm going to turn off recording. Maybe.